Welcome to APA Formatting the Basics. Okay. So APA stands for American Psychological Association, and it's used to cite sources in behavioral and social sciences. It regulates stylistics in text and references. So one of the first parts of the APA style is the title page, which is meant to look professional. So it should include a running head. The word running head is not used anymore, but it's a shortened version of the title and should not exceed 50 characters. 1/3 of the way down, which is 3 to 4 spaces, the page should read the title, full name, department, and institution. There should be an extra space between the title and your name. And after you write your title, press enter twice to create the extra space. The title should be bolded, and the title should be what your paper is going to be about.
All right, so here we just have an example of a professional title page. This could be a professional title page, which is more it could be for like publication and things of that sort. And then we have a student title page after this, which is gonna be a little bit more simple and more specific to the institution. But here on the professional title page, you see we have the running head. This is giving a difference between the 6th and the 7th version of APA. As you can see, there's no longer the words actually running head next to that heading at the top. And then just a key, not style, it's I guess kind of style, but it's gonna be in all caps, that running head at the top. And then in the top corner, we're gonna have the page number. I think at one point there was the page number started on the first body paragraph page, but now the page number actually starts on the title page. The next component is gonna be the actual title. So that's gonna be in bold and centered on the page. And then 2 spaces down, you're gonna start with the authors. So first name, last name, and the middle initial. And then following that is gonna be the affiliations. So here we have like the groups that they did the research with alongside the universities. And then this is gonna be the major difference between a professional title page and a student title page is gonna be an author note. This is just gonna be a little bit of information about the researchers, just to kind of give a little bit of background to who they are as people. Okay. So then this is going to be more applicable to us here at Centenary. This is the student title page. At the top, we don't have that running head anymore. I think this is, as we're kind of going to find out throughout the presentation, this is going to vary alongside the professor. I know for me personally, even though I'm a student, my professor likes to have that running head, but according officially to the APA manual, you're not necessarily need that running header there. Similar to the professional title page, we have the page number in the top right corner, and then the bolded title centered about 1/3 of the way down. Following that, 2 spaces down, you have the author, which is going to be your name, and then your affiliation. So here we have the Department of Family and Community Health at University of Pennsylvania. So that affiliation is really to be, I guess, your major, and to tie in there. And for all of us here, the second part would be Centenary University. After that, you'd have the course, which is usually going to be a number followed by the actual title. So here we have NURS 101, which is just going to be the general description of the course, and then the specifics of it, so the nature of nursing practice. Following that, we're going to have the instructor, which is the professor's name, and then the due date of the project.
So once you start writing the bulk of your paper, there are requirements that APA has. So the margins have to be 1 inch on all sides, excluding the header. Indent the first sentence of each paragraph. Times New Roman 12 point, double spacing, punctuation, 1 space between sentences. So for the language style, there's no flowy language, so clear and concise sentences, so more specific. Plain, simple, descriptive adjectives, active voice. So an example of an active voice is researchers ask participants questions. Passive voice, the participants were asked questions by the researchers. use people first language, use non-biased language when referring to a specific individual or group. So in-text citations, direct quotes can be used, but paraphrasing is more common and encouraged. Direct quotes should be used sparingly and only when exact information is necessary. No paragraph should be quoted. If the author is stated when information is presented, then the date is placed immediately following. Example, Dr. Presley, 2018, stated with quotes. If the author was not previously mentioned in the paragraph narrative form, then citations should include both the year and the author. Example, Presley, 2018. The year should always be in parenthetical citation. Example, quotation, parenthesis, Presley, comma, 2018, parenthesis, period, quotation, end quotation. Use the word "and" for narrative citations when listing more than one author, and the ampersand symbol "and" for a parenthetical citation. Example, narrative citation, Smith and Jones, parenthesis 2020, and parenthesis, parenthetical citation, Smith and parenthesis Smith and Jones with the ampersand symbol, comma 2020, and parenthesis.
So for a reference page, that's going to be where those in-text citations are kind of like reaffirmed or confirmed. So in the center of that, without the quotes, of course, you have the word references. I know in MLA they use works cited, but for APA we're to use the word references specifically. That should be on the top of the page, in the center, and then bolded. All of your entries, just like the bulk of your paper, should be in Times New Roman, 12-point font, and double spaced. It's pretty easy just to keep that consistent. And then each entry should have a hanging indent after the first line. So I know this can get a little bit complicated just in terms of formatting sometimes. It's going to be, instead of like having an indent for a paragraph, it's going to be like the exact opposite of that. So the first line is going to stick to the margin, and everything else is going to be removed an inch about from the margin. And then entries should be organized in alphabetical order. So I've had students come to me confused about whether or not they should put it in order of when they used it in the paper, in order of the year. APA specifies that they want that in alphabetical order according to the last name of the author that comes first in this reference on the reference page. And then page numbers should just be continued from the rest of the paper. So you start with 1 on the title page, you're going to continue 2 through whatever on the body, and then that reference page is whatever you left off on from the body of that page, or from the page of the body. And I think I haven't had this one personally, but rare cases where you have 21 or more authors, what you're going to do is you include only the first 19 names, and then an ellipses, and then include the final name. So if you have, in this example down here, we have the first 19 names. I'm not going to try to pronounce that first one. But the first 19 names, then the ellipses after that 19th name, and then the final name in the citation. So then citations, this is the specifics of them. Authors should have their last name and first initial. Sometimes if the middle initial, first initial, if the middle initial is available, also include that. It's not necessary though. And then the title should only have the first letter of the first word capitalized. And then after I can't see what the word is. And then after the semicolon, so if you have a semicolon, some titles do, after the first word after the semicolon is to be capitalized. So I think we have an example in the next slide, but we'll show you a little bit of that. And then the name of the journal is italicized as well as the volume number. But immediately following that volume number, it's going to be smushed together. It's going to be the issue number, and that issue number is not going to be italicized, which I know some professors are really picky about. And then actually, only the number of the volume should be included. So you're not going to include the word volume or the abbreviation VOL, just the number specifically. And then, as I said before, the issue number is not italicized. It's just in parentheses. So here we have an example. So as you can see, the title of references is centered and bolded, and then we have a continuation of the page numbers from before. So then we just have a variety of different citations here. We have a book reference, a report reference, a journal article reference, which are going to be slightly tweaked. We have a reference for you guys to use if needed later in the slides. But as you can see, we have a hanging indent here. So the first line of the citation is in line with the margin, and then everything else is pushed in. And then everything is alphabetized throughout the whole reference page.
Next are some examples of citations. These are from a journal. So the first one is by D. Baker. The parenthetical citation and at the end of the sentence would be Baker, 2019. The narrative citation within the sentence would be Baker and then parenthesis 2019 and parenthesis. The next one is Grady. Well, this one has multiple authors. So to cite that, you would put et al. I don't know if I'm saying that right, et al. And then the date, 2019. Well, the parenthetical would be in parentheses. The whole thing would be, and then the narrative citation, Grady et al. Parenthesis 2019 would be in parentheses, only the 2019. Next are examples of websites or citation examples of websites. So for the first one is Giovanti. I really don't know how to say that. Giovanti. I don't know how to say that. The parenthetical citation would be G, 2019, all in parentheses. The narrative citation would be just G, and then parenthesis 2019. And the World Health Organization is, the parenthetical would be in parentheses, and then in the narrative citation, only the date would be in citation. Same with the last one.
And the big difference between a parenthetical citation versus a narrative citation is if you're to paraphrase or quote something, but you're not going to reference who the author is prior to that, then you're going to use that first parenthetical citation. That's just going to be stuck at the end. While a narrative citation, you might say Giovanetti said, or Giovanetti and his team discovered, whatever it is, but that 2019 is going to be immediately following his name. And then you're going to continue on with whatever information you received from that source. So now we actually have an example. I know since it's only one participant here, we'll have the tutors hop in if they don't mind. Let's see if I can find it.
I participate.
Oh. One sec.
What type of dog you have, Courtney?
That wasn't my dog.
Like, you were the only one who wasn't muted.
No, Matthias muted
That was
us.
me. It's a corgi.
Oh.
I'm dog sitting for someone, so.
Oh.
So cute.
Okay, here we go. Okay. So we're just going to go through the different parts. We're going to start with the title page, then we have the body of a paper, and then we have the reference page. And if you guys just want to shout out what you guys see wrong with the paper.
Is running head supposed to be capitalized too?
Close,
It's not supposed
kind of.
to have a running head, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I think there's 4 things wrong here. So that's
Okay.
one.
Why is only one part? Oh, that's the only book? carries the book, right?
Yeah.
Shouldn't they put the author in it then?
Well, that's the title of the paper. So I would say that has to be like bolded.
The title?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's another one.
What do you think, Will?
I'd say the title should be bolded.
Okay. Yeah. All right. And then I think there's two other things. So the first thing, no longer need the words running head, of course. The other thing is there needs to be a page number in that top right corner.
Wait,
we
so there's
said-
supposed to be a page number on the first page?
Yep. And we said the title should be in bold. And then there should be an empty line between the title and Centenary University. And then probably the smallest of them all, the department should be in front of Centenary. So whatever it'd be right there, comma, Centenary University.
So wouldn't it be the wouldn't it be the psych department because it's a psychology paper? I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah. So it'd be Department of Social and Behavioral Sciences. I just put something in to fill in the space.
No, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah. So the body should be fairly simple to figure out.
Wait, go back up. Wait, no, not that far up, like to the top of the page. So I thought the running head had to be different than the rest of the paper, right? Or no?
No. That stays consistent throughout.
APA is so hard.
It has something to do with the words themselves. Or not the words themselves, but the look of the words.
Like the heading?
No, the body of the paper.
The body of the paper. Is the citations right?
Yeah.
Okay. Eric Erickson, who names their child that?
You're probably overthinking it, to be completely honest.
I'm probably overthinking it. I don't know. Well, if he's talking about Carrie, he put it in quotation marks. Shouldn't that be italicized?
Yeah, you're getting too much into detail.
Is the running head even in the header, or is that in the paper itself? It looks like it's below the two, but that could just be the way I'm looking at it.
No, it's in
it
the
looks
head.
like it might actually be below the two. I think I originally had this in words, so maybe when I
Oh, look, it does look
it, so.
below the two. Now I see it.
All right, I'll tell you this one. It's just not double spaced.
Oh.
So fairly simple, but
So I do have one question. Does APA papers usually have like heading sections, or is that not always?
so if you're doing like an experiment or something more formal, then yes. It's like I'm doing a couple experiments right now, and you'd have like your method section, your introduction section, references would all be the headings of the paper. But for the most part, just like a quick like 2-page paper typically doesn't have the headings in there.
Okay, thank you.
All right, and then we'll do the references page.
It says works cited.
Nice, there you go. I think there's 2 other things. One of them you're not going to get. I know that for a fact.
Oh, I see something.
I believe in Victoria. I feel like she'd get it. I feel like I'm not going to get it.
The italics for like the page numbers, because it's just the volume number.
Yeah, actually, I didn't even intend for that to be in there, but yeah, that's one. So I guess 2 more from there.
Well, do you notice anything?
Look at the beginnings of the citations.
Yeah, I guess in the beginning, say, I think I noticed that, like the names of the offers aren't shouldn't they be in alphabetical order?
Yep, that's one of them.
Yes.
And then actually, I'll
Also
let you guys get.
the second like citation with the access November 14th. I don't think you do that for APA.
Yeah, that was APA 6, not APA 7. And then
So
the
what would
final
you
thing. What was that?
wait? So APA 7, they don't do the access on anymore.
Not that I've seen, no. I think some professors will still let it go. It's kind of whatever they choose to be picky on that day. But then the final thing is.
Would it be because it has multiple authors?
No.
Damn it.
So, I do see something.
What?
The A isn't capitalized after the colon. I don't know if that's what that's one of them.
Wait, what is it? Where?
Oh, yeah, this one right here. Again, not one that I intended, but I didn't think you guys would nitpick it this much. But this first citation actually isn't in the paper up here.
Oh.
So the David citation is, but the Hodker one isn't. And in APA, even if you've used that as like inspiration, or you've used the citation or the source for to get to other sources, you don't include it unless you actually cite it in the bulk of the paper. So that was just the last one. All right. So I think we have a couple more slides. Okay, yeah. So this, we won't go into too much detail. This is just a general guide of all of the different citations. Most of them you'll probably never use, but it's a template for anything you might ever need. And it's just a continuation of it. And then Will, if you need any additional help, I know APA can be pretty confusing, as we've pointed out, I think in that example right there. This first website is our website to be able to set up an appointment with any of us. You can't really go wrong with any of the tutors there, all pretty good. And then this is going to be our work website where we have our blog posts and some more information and videos that are available to you anytime. And then finally, this is just the APA style guide. This last link here, it's always if you don't have the manual, this is basically the same thing without having to pay all of the money for the manual. Cool. Will, do you have any questions for us?
I have one question.
Okay.
What would you say about using like APA citation generators?
So I'll be honest, I use them myself, but I'd like to think that I'm fairly decent at APA, so I'm able to catch some of the mistakes. I haven't found one where they don't make a mistake, so as long as you're able to check and really make sure that you're going through and fixing all of those little things, which is like capitalization and small things like that are really going to be where it's going to trip you up. So they're not necessarily bad as a starting point, but it shouldn't be just like copy and paste and forget about it.